Reaction was skeptical in a lot of places. Jay Billis, for example, tweeted, from the NCAA Board of Governors, what they're saying is we shall strive to allow athletes the right to name, image, and likeness opportunities only in a manner that does not allow them to monetize their name, image, and likeness opportunities. It's funny, and yet it's not so funny, because there's at least a part of it in which he's 100% right. So we've assembled a different group here, and again, Jalen Rose, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
Always.
Good morning, guy.
My guy.
But Jalen, there's no one who I want to hear more on this than you, because you're part of one of the most famous college basketball teams, college athletic teams of all time, that probably could have capitalized on your name, image, and likeness more than any other group of collegians ever. So when you heard this news yesterday, what was your reaction?
It was a mockery, because this is not the time for people on either side to be grandstanding or patting themselves on the back about change taking place, because it didn't take place. I want to continue to stress this point. The NCAA, by the way, is a nonprofit organization. That's another subject for another day. It's a private institution in theory. It's almost like saying, when I'm in my mother's house, I go by her rules. It don't matter what the rules of the state of Michigan are. Mm-hmm. When you walk through these halls of ESPN, you're going by the rules of the company, not by the rules of New York City. Mm-hmm. And so basically, when he says he doesn't basically want to see student athletes compete against professionals, he deems professionals those that are capitalizing off their name and their likeness and their imagery. So that's a contradiction in itself. And as you alluded to, being on a team that we wore blank shirts on purpose, okay, out of a silent protest, because we realized the kind of money that was being made off of us. It's just laughable when I see people on both sides really are patting themselves on the back like change has happened when it really hasn't taken place.
Wanted to give a chance for Paul Feinbaum to comment on this as well. You are known more than anything else for your commentary on college sports. What was your perspective on yesterday?
Well, I hate to quote Macbeth this early in the morning, but the statement was full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. It was a total con job. And I expected nothing more from the NCAA. They put the story out, and all of us, we start getting the alerts on our phone and go, man, this is like a landmark ruling from the Supreme Court. And then you started to read in between the lines, and they were full of crap, as they always are and always will be.
In what way? I mean, in what way?
Well, they put out a narrative as if something had changed. Nothing has changed. Yeah. And the only reason they're even putting this out, and everyone here I think agrees, is because they are about to have this assault of litigation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What do you think?
I think they are grasping this power, which is the problem. We were on the precipice, potentially, of the power being outside of their hands. By giving it back to them, we're just months removed from them writing a letter to the California governor to tell him that what he was doing was a problem. Now, all of a sudden, they're on board, and we can trust you to marshal this process. That's an issue. And then the last thing is they still aren't paying the players for their labor. They're still pretending like they are not employees, and that's a problem.
Well, what this is they want to remain in control. Now we had this litigation, and you had different legislation in different states that were trying to push forward in a way to actually help these players. And so now they say we can control the narrative, because now we aren't talking about the legislation in each state. We're now talking about the NCAA and what they did. And I agree with Jalen. It's about the grandstanding. It's about having that name called anytime we speak about players, image, and likeness.
Listen, there were also politicians who took the opportunity to grandstand shamelessly on this yesterday. There was a lot of it to be discouraged by, but if I may, was there not at least some part of us who are on, I think we're all on the same side of this debate, that felt at least encouraged by the notion that it is obvious that the people who run the institution recognize the tide is turning against them and they have to do something? That's what yesterday felt like to me. At least it is a recognition on the part of the people who are in charge of this that, you know what, we can't hold this back forever. So we're going to have to do something, and we'll see where it winds up.
A journey does start with a single step, but in theory, they were still purposely vague, Greeny, and they don't want players to be paid. No matter how you slice it, and I have to say this to so many people, I've been saying this for almost 30 years, I'm tired of saying it, that people feel like we should just shut up and be happy to have a scholarship. The athletes are the only people that aren't allowed to profit off their likeness and or work while they're collegiate students. Period.
They may be the only people in our entire society who are not allowed to do that. They are the only people who do not own the rights to their name. If you just stop and think about that for a moment, it's crazy.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.